Hello, this is an immersive first-person stealth experience, and as I headed into this project, I set up a couple of goals for myself. So the first one was to work at a pretty small scope. I wanted to be able to focus on the high quality of the level over its quantity. And then the second goal was to work a lot with non-linearity. I wanted to make a very interconnected space where the paths sort of converge in several points, and I wanted each problem to have multiple solutions, so it was up to the player to solve it however they wanted to. So in these early parts of the level, I am establishing the game rules. I'm letting the player know what the mechanics are, and I'm introducing them to the Spectres, which are these ghosts that haunt the ship. As you can see here, this body starts getting dragged away by something invisible. I wanted to create something weird, something intriguing to really grab the player's attention and make them want to follow through with this and investigate what's going on. But as I was playtesting, I noticed an interesting dynamic as well where players don't have to follow this. They can just turn right and ignore whatever this is. And I imagine this would enable some sort of hard mode where you sort of decline the Spectre's help, so you wouldn't be able to use them to distract enemies and they wouldn't be dissolving corpses for you. But on the other hand, there could be more prestige in finishing a run like this. And while you do lose the powers that the Spectres would give you, you also don't owe them anything. In this playthrough, I'm going to be focusing on one of the different paths you can take, but essentially at this point we have left the tutorial section of the level. So the player has been given their mission, they know what to do, they know that they need to get to the bridge, defeat the captain, and escape. And we're entering a phase of more freeform exploration where the player instead has to find the way forward. There are three different ways to get to the main deck from the lower deck where we are now. And for each of the paths, I'm embracing a different playstyle and I'm encouraging different player traits. So there's the main stairs, which is the shortest but also the hardest path. This is suitable for strategic players who might like an advanced stealth challenge, while the other paths might be more appealing to curious and exploratory players. Heading up the stairs here, we get a good look of the mess hall, which is the main encounter of the level. All of the different paths lead to this room, and I'm using this vantage point to highlight the different approaches you can take. So to the left you see an enemy entering through a door, and to the right there is a lot of flickering lights. Both of these paths will give players a free kill as well, to sort of encourage players to explore and find the entrances to these paths so they do get an easier path through this mess hall encounter. So as I mentioned earlier, in this playthrough I'm going to focus on one of the different approach, and I'm going to be focusing on the galley path. So right now it appears to be locked and we need to find a way to unlock it. The way I do this is to have today's menu on the side of the door, and since it's locked you might deduce that the chef has a key. So someone has graffitied on the menu saying your food sucks, Joetta, and then it's up to the player to make those connections and go and look for crew quarters that belong to this Joetta person. To emphasize the importance of this room even more, this is the only room that has an actual NPC in it, so it might be a bit more interesting to explore than any of the other rooms as well. But we do find the key in here and we can use that to enter the galley, and once we're in the galley we can go left down a corridor, we can explore the galley itself to the right. I'm using the galley to set the tone of the level, so you can find a crew member who has raided some of the cupboards, and I wanted to convey the sense of carelessness and disobedience that these crew members don't really have any faith in their captain. But we leave the galley behind and move onward through this path instead. So as we turn the corner, you get to a door and there's a key right next to it. And this is simply a way to unlock a shortcut back to the beginning of the level. I found that even the simplest little shortcut like this tied the space together, and it really worked in favor of my goal to create an interconnected space as well. Now we're entering the room with all the flickering lights that we've seen once or twice before. And in this playthrough I'm using some bottles to distract the enemies and sneak past them that way, but you could have also potentially climbed up on the furniture and jumped across the little gap by the stairs. In the second encounter I'm using a scripted event to keep the player on their toes and switch up the expectations a little bit. So I'm solving this using a distraction again, but you could also simply sneak past the enemies and exit the door and close it behind you. Or you could let the patrolling enemy walk a bit and time it right to defeat them both when they can't see each other. It's been really interesting to work with this mess hall encounter since I had 3 different approaches and I wanted to give all of them a unique point of view and a unique advantage. So this path we've been on, for instance, has been the longest of the 3 paths, and that's rewarded with a relatively short and easy mess hall fight. While if you would have chosen the main stairs where we were in the beginning, you would be up for a very intense and difficult encounter here. And as we eventually get past this mess hall encounter, we walk up the final set of stairs and approach the bridge, where we get this sort of outro to then defeat the captain and finish the level. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.